In the pristine wilderness of Alaska, where towering mountains met crystal-clear rivers, a large grizzly bear named Kodiak roamed the forests and streams. Kodiak was no ordinary bear, he was a master of his domain, a creature as fierce as the winds that swept through the glacial peaks. His fur was a thick, tawny brown, and his eyes held the deep wisdom of years spent in the cycle of life and survival. As the summer sun rose high in the sky, its golden light painted the landscape, warming the crisp air and bringing with it the sound of rushing water. The rivers, swollen from melting snow, were filled with salmon, the lifeblood of the wild. It was the season of abundance, and Kodiak's powerful instincts urged him to seek out the best fishing spot, where the salmon leaped and glimmered in the sun like silver arrows. Kodiak approached the riverbank with slow, deliberate steps. His massive paws left deep imprints in the mud, and the water rippled as he settled by the river's edge. The salmon were swimming upstream, their muscles straining against the current, their scales reflecting flashes of sunlight. It was a mesmerizing sight, and Kodiak's eyes tracked their every move, calculating, waiting for the right moment. The bear's sharp senses picked up every splash and flick of a tail. He could hear the rush of the water, the chirp of the birds overhead, and the occasional rustle of the forest behind him. He remained perfectly still, a mountain of strength poised for action. Time seemed to stand still as he watched a particularly large salmon struggle against the current, its body propelling forward, determination in every muscle. With the grace of a creature built for survival, Kodiak lunged. His powerful limbs surged forward, and in a blur of motion, his massive paw swept through the water, striking the salmon in mid-leap. The fish flailed, its scales shimmering, and Kodiak's jaws opened wide. In a single, decisive snap, he caught his prize, feeling the resistance and the wild energy of the fish as it tried to escape. The river roared around him as Kodiak stood tall, the weight of the salmon firm in his powerful jaws. He tasted the cool, rich flavor of the fish, the very essence of the life that flowed through the pristine waters of the Alaskan wild. He let out a triumphant growl, one that echoed through the forest, announcing his victory to the other creatures that watched from a distance. But the hunt was not over. Kodiak knew that the season was short, and the river would soon run dry. He took the fish to a quiet spot under the shade of an ancient pine, where the sounds of the rushing water were a soothing lullaby. There, he feasted, the strength of the salmon filling him with power and preparing him for the winter months ahead. The dance between hunter and prey was as old as the land itself, a cycle woven into the fabric of existence. As the sun began to dip below the jagged peaks, casting long shadows across the river, Kodiak looked out over the water, the breeze ruffling his fur. The rhythm of the wild was in his bones, a reminder that life was both fragile and fierce, and that every day was a gift to be seized. Kodiak was not just a bear, he was a guardian of the wilderness, a creature who honored the delicate balance of nature with every hunt and every breath. The river continued to flow, the salmon continued to leap, and the great Alaskan wilderness carried on, timeless and boundless.